You are now listening to Femme podcast with Tessa Markle
and Carolina Alvarez.
Femme. Hey, Femme fam. Welcome back for season 2.
Woo, guys.
We are so excited.
We are. We had such a lovely turnout with season 1. We really love all the feedback we've been getting. So thank you, listeners, to those of you who have been out there shouting us out, commenting on Apple Podcasts. Yes, we love
if you haven't, by the way, like if you've listened, but you haven't taken the step to subscribe or rate
like
or
if you're a
comment.
homie of ours and you haven't done this by now, like, what's up? We're going to have to talk.
It does really help us, though. Like, you know, regardless, we're just happy to have listeners and we're so grateful for the feedback. But it really does help us grow to get those things. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, you know, doesn't hurt. But yeah, we're so excited for season 2. We have some great guests lined up. And we just thought, you know, given where we are right now in our path and what we're going to share, what better way to start about like how to keep doing films, like even if you don't have like necessarily a big budget, not even what's considered a micro budget, and how like what our journey was to kind of get things out there when you just don't have, quote unquote, the resources to. So we thought that would be a great way to kind of segment our season 2 and kind of share our journey a little more. So Tessa, do you want to talk about our like
how we started
6K trailer?
Oh my God. Well, you know, like when we started this, we had an idea. Yeah, no regrets at all.
No regrets.
Learned, you know?
I will say that. No.
We had an idea of something we wanted to make, and we had no real experience other than in the acting world specifically.
Yes.
You know, I mean, we knew how filmmaking worked to some degree, but we had no experience ourselves. So, you know, we had this idea for a period piece. I think short is what we originally thought.
Exactly.
That we wanted to make. And we said, okay, well, let's film the trailer for it. That'll be the first thing we do. And, you know, it's a period piece. We know things like costumes and, you know, set and all that stuff's going to be more on the expensive side. But like, we can handle it, right?
Yeah.
I think we ended up, I don't remember.
And since we couldn't find like castles out here in Southern California, like we're like, it's not going to work. So no Pride and Prejudice shit going on right now. So then we're like, oh, well, a Western. Yeah. You know, like
totally like using what we had, you know, Southern California, like
got those deserts.
Yeah, exactly.
Horses,
which we learned how to horseback ride for. I learned how to twirl a gun and shoot a gun. I'm now proficient with a revolver.
I like cantered away on that horse, and like that was a really fun experience.
Yeah.
But
what was our original budget for that? I want to say half of what we ended up spending,
$3K.
Right?
$3K, so I think were the magic number, and it definitely doubled to $6K, and that's just like ballparking. We probably spent definitely over that, but
yeah, and we got some deals too. Like people cut deals with us because we were kind of desperate.
Yeah, like oh my gosh, we were like scavenging around in what desert was it? We were like all the way by Palm Springs or something, and like one of these ranches that we stopped at because we're like, you know what, the best way we're gonna get it is we get out of LA and like find some ranch,
which
and, like,
does still hold true, guys. Like that did help.
Kind of, yes, yeah.
Well, in the
end, that's true. But like we went way out there, and we like came across this like family own ranch thing, and oh my gosh, like they're giving us like a tour kind of with their like 4x4 pickup truck that like their son ended up getting stuck in the sand, like wheels twirling. We're just like, what is going on? And they're like, you know, yelling at the kid, like, I told you not to drive out there. And then in that accent too, of course. And then we're like, oh my goodness. And you know, we get back to the ranch after they give us this not really tour. Like, I think I get what land we're working out with, but okay. And then we sit down with them and they like tell us that like just for the location itself, they wanted to charge us $6K. And we're like, okay, and what does that come with? You know, the son that got
got us stuck. Yeah.
Got us stuck.
I'll drive you around.
Yeah. And like, my God. Yeah. So we ended up finding a production company out in
Agua Dulce.
agrodulce.
Yes, shout out to Snakebite Productions in Caravan West.
Yes, for coming and saving the day, because they cut that price down to like the 3K, 4K, but then with having to pay our cast and crew.
Yeah. Which, by the way, like, just I highly recommend them. Just putting that out there if you guys are doing anything Western style, because they have
the props,
they've got the horses, they've got the land, they've got the props, they've got the costumes. Like it's fantastic, and they're great to work with. And
they know how to manage the terrain out there, and they were super helpful. And it, like, oh my gosh, they understand how movies are doing, and like just if you're into the Western genre, find this interesting. It's like even the horses, there's like the movie horses, film horses who understand and not going to freak out at the prop gun shooting off, you know, and like, oh my gosh, to think we really would have gone to hell with the other like mom, like we all didn't trust him, but to like, you know, the horses aren't like trained for that.
But hey, I mean, I'm proud of us that we just jumped in and did it, because we didn't realize at first how big of an undertaking it was going to be. And then we started realizing it when we, you know, were location scouting and like looking at our budget and everything. And like, I'm happy that we did it. Like, I still don't regret taking that on as our first project. I'm glad we didn't go full speed ahead with the short or feature yet. But, you know, I mean, it was such a big learning experience for us.
Absolutely. And I think, we definitely feel passionate about coming back. But had we not done it, we wouldn't have even formed Femme regard as what it is today. And sometimes, you know, maybe going blind to things, even if it's a little stupid, it's like you don't hold back, and you learn so much more. And now we just like are so hungry to like make the next thing. And so that kind of puts us to what we ended up doing after the trailer, because it's in post. Still,
we set it aside for a minute. We're not that slow. I just want to clear that up.
But we're like, okay, so that took away like, you know, a chunk of money for us, because that was self-funded by ourselves. And we're like, what's out there for us to kind of work on next? And like immediately right after, you know, if you're here, especially in LA, this is super helpful. It's just like I don't know what email chain I was like. It's so random. I don't
remember how we found out about it.
But like the ATTthon Create Shape-a-thon, which
ATT Shape Create-a-thon.
That's
the full name of it. Yeah, because they do it every year. So yeah, if you guys are out here in the LA market, like keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, and so it was just like, oh, I saw this opportunity to have like. Basically what the competition was, if you got your script selected, you'd be then qualified to film and enter into the competition, which gave you a chance to film on the Warner Brothers set, which is free location that you're never gonna just get. And great, it wasn't like anything like whoa, but like it's as in like, you know, they definitely had like,
well, I mean, like the festival was going on around you, other crews were filming in other locations around you. Like, yeah, it wasn't like a closed set, but I mean, it's still Warner Brothers. Like, who else can say they filmed at Warner Brothers at our level? You know what I mean? Like, that's pretty cool.
And, you know, our cast and crew really appreciated that. We ended up having, it was really cool. We had Aaron for Fotheringham.
Yes. But also known as Wheels. You guys probably know him as Wheels on Instagram, social media.
And the YouTube.
Yes.
And the tube. And he is a professional WMX writer. So like he does Nitro Circus. And so like, he's like, we wanted like a crazy stuntman. This is us, of course, just like trying to be out of the box and like go for it. And we had like this kind of stunt shootout thing. And we found a way to like get another free second location and just like had our friends come and join. And like, you know, sometimes you just got to rally people together, get them excited about the location and the people involved. And oh my gosh, Aaron, shout out to him. He was such a sweetheart.
Yeah, he was fantastic to work with. Absolutely. And he came out from Vegas to film with us. He had a great time doing it. We had a great time with him.
And he took the craft really seriously. So if I know he talked about pursuing acting and like getting involved. So yes, I definitely recommend using him and hiring him.
And it just goes to show like, reach out to people. It can't hurt. I mean, we
thought we weren't going to even get a call back because he is a WBMX rider. So like, what does he have to do with film? But we found his website. We contacted his manager, and like next day, because I was like, I basically had the deadline in 2 days, and like they needed to like get back to me. And so they did like the day before. And I remember I finished the script because I had to change it up if he wasn't going to be like involved. And man, it all worked out. So they accepted us, and we were able to shoot there, which was really cool. And then we're like, okay, so, we had to obviously pay for him and stuff, but I think after that, we're like, okay, so now we really don't have any funds. So what do we do? And we got creative. And there's this thing called, I don't know if you've heard, Tessa, but it's called an iPhone.
I think I may have heard of it.
Yeah, like Apple,
people seem to like it, right? Yeah.
I mean, more than Androids, maybe. Sorry. No, I'm kidding. It's fine. And now I've done some research because I have now the XS, but even like the iPhone 8 Plus, like has the dual cam and works fantastic.
I think even Unsane is a movie that's like kind of well known for being filmed on the iPhone, like total film. The entire movie is filmed on the iPhone, but I want to say that was even like a 6 or something. I mean,
oh God.
Yeah. Like way back in the day. And I watched it, and I mean, it's not the best amazing quality, but like, it's really good. And it's definitely good enough to like get in festivals, obviously, to get distribution,
Oh crap. Yeah. Like that's like incredible. So like we just got that. And our favorite gimbal for the phone to use, which is like a stabilizer for those of you who don't know the terms, it like stabilizes the phone. It's a little gear handle.
It almost looks like a fancy selfie stick.
So we like the DJI gimbal seem to work the smoothest. It's never fully smooth when panning, a little issue there, but for the most part, it did the trick. And like we shot like 3 other little projects after that. We had so much fun doing them, and it cost literally like nothing. So
our cost was what to rent the gimbal. We had bought sound equipment for our first
we
short,
invested
so we
in that.
But we already had that by then. I mean, other than that, it was just little tiny costume things, snacks and water, for us and our crew. Like we really did it on no budget whatsoever.
And then that just got us getting the experience of like doing things, like just keep learning and growing and getting us like ready for the next thing. And I think that's a great way, I think just for those of you who are out there interested in the independent filmmaking and filmmaking, just don't limit yourself just because you don't have the crew equipment. But it is amazing what you can also rent for not that much, like high end equipment. Of course, you want probably someone who can operate that, but we'll have an amazing guest come on later in the season to kind of talk more about that and how you can get around with certain equipment and things.
But that's the thing too, is, especially in a market like LA, where there's so many people in all aspects of the industry everywhere, like, you can hire someone to be on your crew, maybe even a friend you can ask to do for cheap or free, you never know, who might already have that equipment too,
Yeah.
I mean, I was just on a short.
It helps. Sorry.
That's okay. I was just going to say, I was just on a short that we ended up using my sound equipment, and it wasn't a Femme production, it's because they knew me, I had it, knew how to operate it, that kind of stuff. And, it's great to have people that have equipment if you don't want to rent it or buy it.
And following on with that is that it's great that they have the equipment, and more so they even know how to use it because it's theirs. A lot of times, fortunately for our, crazy Western desert flower shoot, all of our guys needed a rehearsal day, to even learn how to work the car gimbal and how to rig it up properly and thank God they all knew what they were doing with their equipment. So they didn't have to spend too much time out there.
Right.
But it's like, I couldn't even imagine if it wasn't something they were familiar with, that, the car mount, black arm crap, like what they would have done, Yeah. So it's definitely a tip I would say is even better if you found someone who has the equipment and it's theirs, they know how to use it, and they can, help you out.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about using what resources you have and what resources are available to you, and being smart about it and knowing what you're willing to spend on your budget and
being honest about that.
Yeah. And where you're willing to spend it.
Yeah,
you know, if you're willing to stretch
exactly.
a little bit in one area and not another, that sort of thing. It's all just, it's planning, but it's also jumping right in. You know, you learn as you do it.
So we're excited because we're getting ready to we're in pre-production for a pilot that we want to shoot, and I think we're gonna just do it on the mini Black Magic camera that came out, and the thing is like, it's amazing. You guys would look it up, but we could even like get, I think, because it's like what, like $1,000 or something. It is not, and it shoots amazing. Like I was amazed. Our DP friend who will be on the show will share about it. It's just like there are things out there, and you'd be amazed. Like you don't necessarily need the 50,000 cam. Maybe you do it. It depends on what level you're going for and who you're working for. As a production company, sometimes you need to cater to those clients.
That's something to think about too, actually. I'm glad you bring that up, is because this is something we kind of recently just learned about too. You know, if you're at a point where you're actually looking for distribution and to get your product on, you know, streaming services and stuff like that, you know, certain companies have certain restrictions. Like Netflix only has certain approved cameras. Netflix also, I just learned, for ADR has only certain studios, like in LA. I'm sure other places in the world too, but specifically in LA, I think there's like 2 or something that they approve for you to do ADR for. And I don't know if they're more flexible with totally independent things they pick up. I'm not sure, but I know that they have restrictions. That's something to think about too, and actually do your research on before you jump in.
Yeah, no, you got to look it all up and know you're like exactly who you're pitching it to. And we're on that journey. So that's why we've been finding those things, and we'll continue to share what we learn. As you guys know, we're, you know, just, this is why we're doing this. We want to just share our knowledge with you who are, and hopefully inspire and motivate you other creators out there to either collaborate with us or do it yourself.
Yeah.
So
I think it's just important to keep doing it too. You know, it's like like you said, we've been creating this whole time.
Any way you can.
Yeah.
Whether it's with the freaking iPhone, which I love. It's actually pretty cool. And keep it going.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I'm gonna share my
inspo of the episode. Yes, please.
So I had a friend invite me out to hear writer, screenplay writer, author, writer. What do we call playwright?
Screenwriter?
No, screenwriter,
right?
Screenwriter?
Is that the term?
That's the official term.
I don't know.
David McGee speak, and he let me bring up my notes here. I don't want to butcher the titles, because that's where I'm at. But he wrote Finding Neverland, Life of Pi, and recently Mary Poppins Returns, as you all might have seen recently in the theaters. And it was really cool because I'm doing a lot of the writing right now for the pilot. So just some inspiration that, or like the things tips that stuck out to me in that, hearing him talk about writing and his journey. But something like that really clicked for me in writing the pilot was finding a centralized theme, or, you know, overall theme that all your characters resonate with and like all their motives kind of go for, whether that was. And for, you know, he realized he had like a kind of a pattern with all his films, and that was like how his characters kind of overcame death, and each character had a different way of going through it. Yeah. Or, you know, and he's like, oh, I didn't realize that was so morbid. It's like everyone like dealing with death. But it really helps, because I'm kind of a writer. Like I get inspired by a certain thing, or like a scene or a character, and then I kind of go all over the place, and then it totally clicked for me. I'm like, okay, once I started noticing a theme, you know, and even in our pilot, and I think we talked about it, we're not going to share too much.
Just give away our secrets.
Yes. But it was like, oh, like I'm starting to see this with all these characters. So I was like, what is my main character's journey then with it? And that's the thing. The theme is going to kind of affect the journey your character goes on and what the outcome of it is. So yeah, definitely like I would say that's a great thing to narrow in as soon as you can, because then it helps you write. It helped me figure out, okay, the dialogue for the rest of the pilot. And something else, if you're like me and like have ideas come to you like every 10 seconds, you're like, oh, what about this and this? And like you kind of like have a lot of thoughts on how to go for it. And I really loved what his tip was. He likes to, as far as how to create the entire story, like, you know, plot point, all the action points and how each character's journey kind of all comes together. And that was get a whiteboard and then a bunch of colored sticky notes, Post-its, and then, you know, have them each for each color for each character, and then like plot them out over the board. And what's nice is, you know, they're small enough so you can't get like overwhelmed and with detail and stuff. Just, you know, you sum it up and then you could visually see the journey of all the different characters. So I like love that. So I'm really excited to work on that for our project and kind of see how that all came about and will come about for the journey of all the characters. And I thought that was like a cool way to organize it. And so that was like my favorite tidbits, but it was interesting. You know, he was also like an actor trying to make it, and then was abridging novels into what was back then 2 cassette tapes, probably like A and B sides for people to listen. He just got really good at the story pattern. And, you know, that's another thing I would just generally say is read books and screenplays, like read the book and then the screenplay. You'll start to notice how writers develop the formula and know how to like make it, time it right. Because there's like a timing thing with each project, right? So I was just really inspiring, and I hope that might inspire some of y'all. You know?
Good advice, good inspiration.
Thank you.
And by the way, guys, if you're not already following our progress and seeing our creations come to life that we just talked about, you can check us out on our website, femregard.com. You can also follow us on Instagram at femregard and Twitter at femme_regard. And now on Facebook, we have an official page, Femregard Productions.
About time.
And feel free to leave us a comment, DM us. We love to hear from you guys, and we will see you next time.
Yay!
Thanks for listening to Femme Regard Podcast. If you like what you hear, tune in next time for more tips on the filmmaking business and insightful conversations with industry professionals over tea.
We can only grow with your support, so please subscribe, share, rate, and give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcast. If you leave us a great comment, we might give you a shout out on the show. For more on us, check us out at femregard.com.